Both an electrician and a plumber told us that this couldn't be fixed, but we did it. And I'll show you how to fix it too. And if you're a Star Wars fan, then you're gonna love how we end up fixing this. The fan of our drinking fountain was going all the time. And so we first tried to get rid of all the dust that was by the fan, and we tried to clear out the stuff, which I included in a different video. But then our drinking fountain fan eventually started just going all the time. We met with a plumber and asked them if they knew how to fix it. Plumbers don't do appliances. They said we could replace the whole thing, and he showed me different drinking fountains. There's this one that has a compressor, and then there's one that looks like this, but it does not have a compressor. And what a compressor does is it refrigerates your water. So when you push this, then the water that comes out is cold. The compressor was not cooling down because it's broken, and so the fan was just continually going. The only way that we could get the fan to turn off is by turning off the breaker so that it wouldn't be running constantly. And the only way for a drinking fountain with the compressor to work is with the breaker turned on and with this plugged in. So our question was, can we bypass the compressor? We don't need this to be cold, because it's mostly our kids that drink out of it. We ended up having electricians come over, and we asked them if we could potentially bypass the compressor by a chain, because there's a bunch of cords down here, and we felt like it was something that was doable. The electrician told us that he thought the compressor could not be bypassed, but we thought that it could, and so we went for it, and it worked. We will show you how to bypass the compressor of a drinking fountain, so you don't need to go and buy a new drinking fountain if your compressor goes out. You can just do what we do, and it'll make water keep going if you have a drinking fountain that has a compressor, instead of going out and spending a lot of money, over $1,000, to try and replace this for a new one. If you want cold water, then go ahead and buy a new one. This is if you just want water running and you don't have a compressor functioning. We'll show you how to get it done.
First we went to the fuse box and we went and turned off the power. And over here is your box that gives power to the compressor. You put a long screwdriver here. I've already gotten it loose, but you put this here in the corner and you're supposed to push in, down, and then you can pull it away and it opens up. And there's a relay switch in here and a grounding in here. And that's what we're going to explore, is how we can disconnect that. Okay, this is your relay plug, and this is your overload for your relay first. And then this is the overload, it's a top plug.
It's two different plugs.
Yeah. So now this one. To keep a bunch of loose wires from being in here, we're going to cut these. One, two, three. So they're all wrapped. All right, so these are the 3 cords that were going into the compressor. We've protected those with electrical tape. And then this end, we want to make sure that's covered. So we're just going to put this cap back on. I think you have to put the bottom in first.
There you go. Okay, now we turn the switch back on for the breaker. With all that back in, the breaker's turned back on, so now we get to see if without the compressor plugged in, like strapped in, whether it works now. And it sure does.
I bypassed the compressor.
We've converted this Elkay drinking fountain from a drinking fountain that has a compressor to not needing the compressor. When the compressor goes out, you can either spend lots of money to get that fixed, or you can follow the steps we just did by bypassing the compressor, just cutting those cords, wrapping them up so there's not a problem there. Now this is just a regular drinking fountain now. It does not cool, but you have water that flows. So now I just gotta put the cover back on. So there's screws, 2 up front, and there's 2 screws in the back. So there's 4 screws total to put it on.
This hyperdrive blows are gonna be pieces of us in 3 different systems. What'd you do?
I bypassed the compressor.